Close your eyes and imagine this moment with me. It is September 28th, 1870. The rain falls heavy on the cobblestones of Vatican City. Thunder rumbles across the Roman sky like God himself is angry. It is 2 o'clock in the morning, that darkest hour when even the guilty try to sleep. But 3 men are not sleeping. 3 cardinals dressed in black robes move swiftly through corridors that have kept secrets for 1,000 years. They are sweating despite the cold. Their hands shake as they carry heavy wooden crates down ancient stone steps. Inside those crates lies 3 tons of pure gold. Gold worth $180 million in today's money. But this is not ordinary gold. This gold has voices. If you listen closely, you can hear them screaming. The voices of Jews burned alive in Spanish town squares. The voices of Indian priests watching their temples emptied. The voices of children who starved during famines while this gold sat in Vatican vaults. 3 carriages wait at a rarely used gate. The horses strain under the weight, and as those carriages disappear into the rainy night, they carry with them the evidence of the greatest crime in religious history. One man tried to stop them. His name was Giuseppe Mariani, and for trying to tell you this truth, someone burned him and his 3 innocent children alive. This is the story the Vatican prays you will never hear. Let me introduce you to evil wearing a priest's robe. His name is Tomás de Torquemada, and in 1478, at the age of 50, he was given the power to kill anyone he wanted and take everything they owned. They called him Grand Inquisitor. He called himself a servant of God. History should call him what he really was, the architect of legalized genocide. Torquemada understood something that made him more dangerous than any warrior or conqueror. He understood that if you make crime religious, you can steal everything. If you make the punishment death, no one can testify against you. If you make it holy, people will help you do it. So he created a system so perfectly evil that it would run for 356 years and destroy hundreds of thousands of families. The system was simple and horrifying. Find a wealthy Jewish or Muslim family. Accuse them of secretly practicing their old faith. Arrest them in the night. Torture them in chambers where their screams echoed off stone walls. Break their fingers one by one until they confessed to crimes they never committed. Then drag them to the public square. Tie them to wooden posts. Pile kindling at their feet. Light the fire. And as they burned, as their skin blistered and their lungs filled with smoke, as their children watched screaming from the crowd, church officials would read aloud the inventory of everything being seized. Every gold coin, every silk dress, every piece of property, all of it now belonging to the Catholic Church, all of it eventually flowing to the Vatican treasury. Imagine you are there. Imagine you are Miriam, a 35-year-old mother in Seville. You have 3 children. You own a small shop. You have done nothing wrong, but your neighbor wants your shop, so he reports you. They come at night. They take you. They take your husband Isaac. Your children are sent to a church orphanage. You will never see them again. In Torquemada's prison, they torture Isaac in front of you. They break his fingers. 12 snaps, 12 screams. Then they turn to you and say, "Confess, and we spare your children." So you confess to crimes that exist only in their imagination. You sign papers you cannot read, and then they burn you anyway. As the flames rise, your last thought is of your children's faces. Will they remember you? Will they survive? The smoke fills your lungs. The pain is beyond description, and you die knowing your shop, your life's work, is now owned by the men who murdered you. This happened 2,098 times under Torquemada's direct orders. 2,000 families destroyed. But that number does not include the 37,000 who were tortured but not killed. It does not include the 200,000 families whose property was confiscated. When you add it all up, when historians calculate the total wealth stolen, it equals $30 billion in today's money. $30 billion built on the ashes of innocent people. And Torquemada, he died at age 78 in his monastery bed. The Pope himself came to his deathbed and asked, "Do you repent?" Torquemada smiled and said, "I have made the church rich and Spain pure. I die with God's blessing." Then he closed his eyes for the last time, believing he was a hero. The monster died peacefully while his victims screamed in mass graves. Now, we cross an ocean and move forward in time. It is 1757. India, the richest country on earth, holds 23% of the world's entire economic wealth, and a 29-year-old British officer named Robert Clive is about to loot it with the Vatican's help. Clive was not a good man who made bad choices. He was evil from childhood. At age 9, he ran a protection racket, threatening shopkeepers in his English town. At 17, his family sent him to India, hoping to straighten him out. Instead, they gave a psychopath access to the greatest treasure in human history. But here is what your history teacher never told you. Clive did not work alone. He had a silent partner. In 1923, an Italian historian discovered something explosive in the Vatican secret archives: encrypted letters between Robert Clive and Cardinal Ludovico Gonzaga, the Vatican's Secretary of State. These letters, written between 1747 and 1765, revealed a conspiracy that would fund the Catholic Church for centuries. The deal was simple and demonic. Clive would use British military power to loot Indian temples and treasuries. The Vatican would provide international banking to launder the stolen gold, and in exchange for this service, the Vatican would receive 40% of everything Clive stole, 40% of the wealth of an entire subcontinent. On June 23, 1757, Clive won the Battle of Plassey through bribery and betrayal. That night, he entered the Nawab's palace in Murshidabad. What he found made him the richest self-made man in British history. The treasury contained £37 million in gold. In today's money, that is $220 billion. 220 billion found in one building. Clive took £8 million for himself. 17 million went to company shareholders, and £12 million, 72 billion in modern currency, was secretly transferred through diamond purchases and European bank deposits directly to Vatican accounts. But the horror doesn't end with one palace. For 90 years, as Britain systematically destroyed India's economy, the Vatican received their cut. When the Bengal famine of 1770 killed 10 million people while British merchants exported grain for profit, the Vatican received dividends from those grain companies. Let that sink into your soul. 10 million human beings starved to death. Mothers watched their babies die in their arms. Children ate grass trying to survive. And the Catholic Church, the institution that claims to follow Jesus who fed the hungry, was profiting from their deaths. The grain that could have saved them was being sold to Europe, and the Vatican was getting paid. WikiLeaks in 2010 published Swiss banking records that confirmed everything. From 1757 to 1847, regular deposits from East India operations flowed into Vatican accounts. The total, over $12 billion in today's dollars. $12 billion stolen from the poorest people on earth and given to the richest church in the world. When India finally became independent in 1947, they demanded this money back. They showed the documents. They presented the evidence. They asked for basic justice. The Vatican's response: silence. Not a single rupee has ever been returned. Giuseppe Mariani was born in 1835 to a poor Italian family, raised on one simple belief: truth matters. By 1870, he had become Italy's greatest detective, known as the Bloodhound, for his relentless pursuit of justice. When Vatican City fell to Italy, Giuseppe was chosen to enter the secret Vatican archives. Inside, he discovered 247 ledgers containing detailed records of stolen wealth, Inquisition seizures, gold transfers, torture equipment purchases, and foreign deposits, all meticulously documented. For months, he worked without rest, building an 800-page report, making copies, contacting foreign newspapers, and scheduling a presentation to the Italian Parliament. He was 7 days away from exposing the greatest religious scandal in history. On February 21, 1871, he returned home exhausted. He read his son Paolo one last story, gave Teresa water, and held baby Lucia in his arms. He kissed them and whispered, "Sleep well, my treasures." 2 hours later, the house was set on fire. Neighbors saw 3 men fleeing. Giuseppe tried to break his children's door, but it was blocked from outside. He heard them screaming shouting, "Papa, help us!" He dislocated his shoulder, trying to reach them. The screams faded. Silence followed. His 3 children suffocated to death. His wife Maria died calling their names. The fire was declared an accident, but the original report mentioned accelerants and multiple ignition points. His files vanished. The ledgers disappeared. The media went silent. Paolo was 9. Teresa was 7. Lucia was 3. They died because truth was dangerous. They died because money mattered more than justice. In 2010, WikiLeaks exposed Swiss banking records, revealing that on October 15, 1870, just weeks after Vatican gold vanished, 2.8 tons of gold bullion were deposited in a Geneva bank under a fake account named Roman Charitable Society, signed by Cardinal Antonelli, the Vatican's Secretary of State. That gold was quietly converted into cash over 42 years, but not all of it disappeared. In 1923, hidden chambers were discovered beneath St. Peter's Basilica. In 1984, radar scans revealed sealed hollow vaults not listed on any architectural plans. Access was permanently denied. Evidence suggests that over 200 kilograms of gold still remains hidden beneath the Vatican today, buried under sacred stone, while millions of tourists walk above it, unknowingly standing over the wealth of genocide. This is not ancient history. This is happening now. Billions in stolen wealth still exist, built on burned bodies, starving children, destroyed families, and one detective who tried to speak the truth. Giuseppe Mariani died for truth. His children died for truth. Now the truth belongs to you, and the choice is simple. Will you ignore it, or will you share it? Because silence is also a decision, and history always remembers silence.